you notice that the kitty shows up for the kidney section, which is very smart. Callie's well aware that 3 out of 4 kidneys do eventually have, now she's going to, you can't go out the window.
Okay, as Dr. Becker destroys the podcast, I'll take over from here.
My kitty's trying to crawl out the window.
So the next organ, which is, it's my heart organ. I mean, this is literally the organ that got me started on my journey when I made my mistakes with both my cat with melamine and my dog Sam with the chicken jerky, which is kidney. Today, Dr. Woodley offers some incredible recommendations for 2023 when it comes to the kidney. Look at the two first of all, Astragalus I've heard of, but Rahmania sounds like Rihanna's arch rival music singer. This I have not heard of, but I'm very excited to hear about it today. What do you got for kidneys for 2023, Dr. Woodley?
Yeah, Rahmania might work better for the kidneys than your singer.
Rihanna playing Rihanna in the background is what you're saying. Hopefully Rihanna's not in this group. Rihanna, if you're in the group, we apologize. Yes.
Not saying she's not a good singer, but Rahmania works really well for kidneys. So coming from a Chinese medicine background, this is a game changer that for my practice, and especially with, when we start getting into chronic kidney disease and seeing elevated creatinine, and especially with cats. And what's really nice is from a Chinese medicine perspective, this is what we call a blood tonic or a kidney yin tonic. And as we age, the kidneys are starting to work a little bit harder. They're like the cooking pot for digestion in the body. And as those flames start kind of decreasing as we age, that's when we start seeing elevations in, your kidney value. So your BUN, creatinine. We see the urine becoming less concentrated. And what's nice about Rahmania is it also functions as what we call an adaptogenic herb. So the way that it's working in the body is it's helping to calm down an overactive system or provide a gentle boost. So it's not a very strong herb, but it's very powerful at working where it needs to. And what it does is it actually helps increase blood flow to the kidneys. So there's a lot of studies that, let's take a step back. A lot of vets will say you can't reverse kidney disease, right? Once we start seeing elevations, we can't bring that creatinine back down. Well, actually, this herb made me a believer that we can actually reverse kidney disease. And it's essentially like the nephrons, the functional units of the kidneys that are filtering out the toxins in the body. They kind of go to sleep, right? And originally they thought that they died. Once they're gone, you can't get them back. But when we increase the blood flow using an herb like Rahmania, what we start noticing is that we start reviving these nephrons. We start awakening them again. And we start noticing this on the blood work as the creatinine starts decreasing. So we're increasing blood flow to the kidneys. It's helping with the filtration, those glomerular filtrations. It's helping the nephrons do their actual job. It's reducing oxidative stress, so reducing inflammation in the kidneys that's contributing to that chronic disease process. And the other neat thing about this with chronic disease, a lot of times, especially with the kidneys, is we notice that, especially with cats, they can become anemic or the red blood cell drops over time. And that's because the kidneys are a good source of a hormone called erythropoietin, which is actually stimulating the bone marrow to help produce those red blood cells. So when we start helping the kidneys work better, we're increasing blood flow. And actually, we find that the anemia starts improving because we're stimulating that production of that hormone and we're getting more red blood cells made. So it's really, really nice as a good general kidney tonic. Very, very safe. The other thing, too, is it's mild tasting. So it's pretty easy to use for both dogs and especially cats. And one of the safer formulas that I like to test herbs is from Con Essential. So you've had Steve Marsden on. He is the formulator for this brand, and they have a formula called Rahmania 8. It's a gently warming herbal formula with the types of herbs that are in there, but Rahmania makes up a big part of that formula to really help support and reduce the kidney inflammation and increase blood flow to the kidneys to help support them. So this is one that I tend to use definitely if we do have some chronic kidney disease, or we're noticing the kidney values are starting to increase, or you're testing SDMA. So that can be a more specific indicator if those kidneys are working harder on blood, like routine blood tests. And if you're noticing those values trending, this is a great herb to start adding in, whether by itself. I put the dried herbal dosage there. Once again, this is a wide range. I find that this herb works really well in combination with other herbs. So that Con Essentials Rehmannia 8 combination is a great one that you can use, and follow the dosing recommendations on the bottle for the body weight of your pet.
Okay. And sorry, you're going to say, Karen?
Well, no, I'm looking at comments. So if you have an animal who has struggling kidney function, would you pulse the Rehmannia with the astragalus? Like, would you do one and then the other, or use them both concurrently with additional kidney protocols? Or what are your thoughts? Do you rotate, or how would you go about stacking those?
This is a great question. So with the astragalus, astragalus is another adaptogenic herb. So I didn't talk about that one yet. And so this is where it's more essentially for like immune modulation. It has more anti-inflammatory properties. So it can work really well if the body is battling like an infection. So it helps increase the white blood cells. It can complement Rehmannia. So when we look at herbs, they tend to have synergistic properties. So they're balancing one another. And I find Rehmannia and astragalus are used in a lot of different combinations in different supplements. So specifically, Planecure is a vet brand that will actually use Rehmannia and astragalus together because of that complementary synergistic effect. So with astragalus, I tend to pulse that one if you're going to use it by itself, because it's a little bit stronger. Your Rehmannia is one that can be used long term. Once again, pulsing it, where you're taking a break for a week just to allow the body to rest so that you're still getting the good benefits with that. Astragalus, even though it's an adaptogenic, so it's not like boosting the immune system really strong or like calming it down really quickly. It's a good general kind of adaptogen for immune modulation. It is a bit stronger. So that one I integrate in, but I'm using it less frequently. And if it's in a combination with like an herbal supplement that you're using that has both of those, once again, just pulse dose it and you should be fine, monitoring the blood values. So that should be done for any pet with chronic kidney conditions anyways. And if you start one of these herbs and you retest and you notice that the values increase, that's a sign that maybe we don't want to be increasing blood flow to the kidneys. So that's how one of the ways I assess, is this the best for my patients with a chronic kidney disease problem? Because if we have active infection, we may actually want to use something like other herbs that can actually be like an ice pack on those kidneys rather than increasing blood flow. But once again, very, very safe. Once again, I recommend monitoring blood work so we understand what it's doing physiologically to those kidney values.
Is that Rehmannia, Dr. Woodley, in the RX there that I see down here in the corner? This RX renal feline? Because this is what I was giving my cat during the melamine scandal when his kidneys were obliterated. I was giving him this product, and man, like aside from other things I was doing, but I was able to 360 turnaround. So maybe I was giving him Rehmannia this whole time and I had no idea.
It's in a lot of supplements. So like RX Vitamins is another one, like the Vetra-Renal or Renal Essentials, I believe it's called, is a big component. So a lot of these companies are utilizing Rehmannia because, for one, it's very safe. And there's different forms of Rehmannia too. And this is a Chinese medicine formula listed there, the Rehmannia 8 combination. And there's different forms of Rehmannia, whether it's cooked, lightly baked, that will give it different properties. But overall, if you're using one of these, it is a very safe formula that you can use, and it works so well. Like, honestly, it was just it's a game changer. And it really made me a believer in that once we have kidney value elevation, it doesn't mean that it's this progression until stage 4 kidney disease and it's game over. We can actually use these herbs to help reverse that and support those systems. And this is the power of supplementation here with these products.
Well, I'm your perfect candidate for being told it was over twice. With both my cat and my dog, creatinine levels through the roof. This isn't going to turn around. Using proactive integrative medicine and taking control of the diet with my own hands, and amongst a whole other toolbox of integrative medicine, I was able to reverse both of those things. So that is incredible advice. And on the left-hand side, I know you touched a little bit on astragalus, and this is your second go-to when it comes to kidneys for 2023.
Yeah, so your astragalus is really supporting the immune system. So once again, it's one of those adaptogenic type herbs. And what's nice is it complements that Rehmannia. The astragalus, it's mild in taste, it's well tolerated, but this is where if you have an autoimmune disease condition, sometimes the astragalus is a little bit stronger and can actually aggravate it. So I would hesitate to use higher dosages in those situations. And this is where starting with that lower dose range. So we have the dried herb 50 to 400 milligrams per kilo divided, into 3 doses a day. I'd be starting towards the lower end and see how your pet does. If you notice any flare up of symptoms, so with chronic kidney disease, this is where we see increase, urination. If you're dealing with autoimmune disease and you're using this for other symptoms, if you're noticing, or other conditions, if you notice the symptoms increase, I would discontinue this, give it a break and see how your pet does. But it can work really, really well of it, improving that blood flow once again into the kidneys. And it's kind of a different usage. I find it's used a lot for like ends, but it works really well with the kidneys also.
I will tell you just from my perspective, that the blend that you just highlighted, this is what I use for Homie. When I adopted Homie, he had pyelonephritis. And so even though his BUN and creatinine on blood work are okay, he's just drinking a ton of water and urinating blood. So I did abdominal bladder ultrasound. He's got a bladder tumor, but he also has pyelonephritis, this inflammation of the kidneys with basically a long-standing kidney infection with this dilation in the kidneys that can predispose animals to going into kidney failure. This is the combination I use. He also had this raging secondary UTI. So the couple of questions in the comment section about when would you use both? I use this combination together, Rehmannia and astragalus. Once his UTI was cured, I stopped the astragalus, but now I do Rehmannia 3 to 4 times a week. Just pop it in his food, and that has proven to be a really nice way to continue supporting his kidney function, but I just don't use the astragalus. And so that's something that some people said, how often would you want to pulse it? If you have an animal that's predisposed to kidney disease and or you're trying to keep it at bay, popping it in, using this as a part of your ongoing kidney support protocol is just a good idea across the board, in my opinion. That's a nice blend. All right. Ginny says, what about, can you use it with a diabetic cat, Dr. Woodley?
100%. Yeah, 100% you can. It's not going to. One of the things to be careful with Rehmannia, there are some instances in the literature that it can actually lower the blood glucose. So if you are giving insulin, it's something to be aware of that and be monitoring your blood glucose levels. I've used it sometimes with diabetic patients when they fit the pattern for that Chinese medicine. But it is, once again, it's very safe. It's just something to be aware of. Anytime you add a new supplement to a diabetic pet, if you, especially using insulin, that's always something to be aware of that you're monitoring. And if you're noticing any changes at lethargy, they're not acting right, make sure you're checking that blood glucose to make sure that their sugar levels aren't dropping too low.
Okay, great advice. All right, my 2023 kidney support supplement, N-acetylcysteine Inside Scoopers. Now, N-acetylcysteine is a great example of a supplement that's been around forever, but not used for kidney disease forever. N-acetylcysteine originally started years and years and years ago. In fact, in the 40s, 50s, and 60s in human medicine as a mucolytic agent. It breaks down mucus. And actually, so we use it in like babies, we use it in nebulization solutions to help babies and kids with asthma, mucus, croupy cough. It's been used to treat COPD in humans. Then it filtered down in the 70s and 80s to be used for respiratory conditions in pets and veterinary medicine. So we use it in nebulization solutions now for cats with asthma, for chronic bronchopulmonary issues. And then we also use it in veterinary medicine as a treatment for endotoxemia. So animals that have ingested Tylenol, this is also the treatment. And here's what's interesting. I guess, I don't know why I didn't think back in the 90s when we're all using this. I never did emergency medicine, but certainly I have had patients that accidentally consumed Tylenol and needed to be treated. Tylenol can certainly cause kidney failure quickly if it goes untreated and if it's at the right dose. So the treatment is N-acetylcysteine. I don't know why I didn't think back then, well, if it's good for the treatment, would it just be beneficial to use N-acetylcysteine for supporting kidneys? I just didn't think that. But about 6 years ago, I started thinking it when I started learning more about glutathione. and our pets' bodies and our bodies are the need for us to support our internal antioxidants and our internal free radical scavenging systems. When I got really into glutathione recycling, that's when N-acetylcysteine came up again. And so it has this broad use in human medicine, this broad use in veterinary medicine now. But the real mode of action is in supporting and replenishing, restoring glutathione levels. So it's a very powerful antioxidant. And as Dr. Woodley alluded to, the kidneys, once those nephrons become damaged, the kidneys have a hard time forgiving. The liver is the organ that does do a really good job of forgiving when there's been damage or irritation or stress. The kidneys are a little bit more sensitive and are not as forgiving. And that is why adding a powerful antioxidant that specifically helps scavenge free radical or damage done in the kidney and also the liver is a really good idea. And that's what N-acetylcysteine does. It also helps clear heavy metals out of the body. So our beautiful admins will be posting. Thank you, B. She just posted about NaC and mercury clearance. It also does an amazing job of protecting the integrity of the kidneys. If, let's just say, you have to give your dog or cat ongoing drugs, like let's say Metacam, if you have your kitty or dog on Metacam that takes a second pass to the kidneys, or any NSAIDs that have to be cleared with the help of the kidneys, N-acetylcysteine can do a really good job of preventing against kidney damage from drugs that are metabolized and filtered through the kidneys. If the kidneys are already damaged, it helps prevent additional nephron damage and actually helps whatever nephrons that have been damaged, to the best of their ability, repair themselves. So I do like adding N-acetylcysteine into active kidney damage patients right now, as well as animals that have had compromised kidneys or reduced kidney function. And the dose there is on the screen. And I have found N-acetylcysteine to be easy to give. It comes in capsule form. It does come in liquid as well, but I have found that human capsules are the easiest to give. You can open them up. You can add them right on the food. Thank you, Rodney. That's lovely. You can open up the capsule, add it right on the food, and mix it in. There again, people say, how long? If you are monitoring active kidney damage and you start N-acetylcysteine, I would continue this supplement daily until you recheck SDMA, BUN, creatinine. And once those values normalize, then you can discontinue the N-acetylcysteine. If those values don't normalize, then you can move to a pulsed strategy or intermittent strategy, where you would do every other day or Monday through Friday, and then give the body a break on the weekend. But N-acetylcysteine can also be incorporated nicely with other types of kidney support. So you can certainly blend what Dr. Woodley has recommended with N-acetylcysteine. You can blend N-acetylcysteine with a kitten, or if you're using other types of kidney supportive supplements, they all play well together. But this is an underutilized supplement for kidney support and well-being that I would like you all to think about if needed. So something to think about.
All right, there you have it. 2 incredible recommendations for the kidney. We're good to move on to the.
Okay.
We have you got some questions?
No, I don't have a question. I don't have a giveaway, sadly. But the next one I can probably create a giveaway. Woohoo! Lisa says, I've been using the Now brand N-acetylcysteine that has selenium and molybdenum. Is it an okay combo? So actually, Lisa, no. I would tell you that a little bit of additional selenium and molybdenum, fine. Ongoing, selenium has a really narrow window of safety. We need selenium. And certainly selenium deficiency is a thing, because so many of our soils are selenium deficient, many of our foods are selenium deficient. But I'm assuming you're feeding a nutritionally complete and balanced diet, which means selenium and molybdenum are already included. I would give the Now brand to you that has additional minerals in it, and I would get just plain NaC. I get mine from Life Extension. If you want, I mean, just brand wise, I use Life Extension NaC. It's also really good if you have a mucousy animal. I mean, just as a side note, if you have postnasal drip, croupy, coffee, a lot of phlegm, N-acetylcysteine does a really good job of breaking down mucus. So just as a side note, that was its kind of original purpose. But using Life Extension brand NaC just comes singularly alone with no added minerals. All right.
One of the other things with NaC, just real quick too, is it can actually help with the gut. So if you have pets that have GI issues, N-acetylcysteine can help with that mucus lining too. That's really, really important. So it's used in a lot of different supplements. But just another side note for that, you can use it for all sorts of different things. So it's not just focusing on one thing. Once again, these supplements are you're being utilized in all sorts of different organ systems in the body too.
Yeah. Bonnie says, what about Dr. Mercola's NAC with milk thistle? That is what I take, Bonnie, myself as well, when I want that added milk thistle in there. If you don't need the added milk thistle, then milk thistle is of course totally safe and fine. But what's important is we go back to those minerals. You want to make sure if you're using a human product that there aren't additional minerals like selenium, molybdenum, zinc, some of those. Sometimes it can be blended with copper, iron. Those are the things that you want to avoid for long-term use in pets. All right, moving on to skin/and/or allergies. Next topic. This will be a big one because so many animals, specifically dogs. My goodness, I feel like that's